First off, Oddity. By the way, Bruce Perky reviews Oddity. Check out his take, which, by the way, I do not agree with. Let's see if I agree with Eric Holmes' take. Now, this movie, it's very interesting. It centers on a woman who we follow in the beginning. It's not a spoiler. She is very scared of maintaining this really beautiful, sort of old school, I wouldn't say mansion, but well, actually, it looks like a mansion, very spacious. And it's just an old school, scary looking, haunted mansion looking place. Her name is Dani. And one night, she's murdered. Dani is murdered within the first 10 minutes of the movie. That's not a spoiler. That's the premise of the thing. What happens from her murder is who's actually responsible for her murder is supposedly an inmate at a institution who was recently released. And he was knocking on her door the night she was killed and telling her to let him in because he was telling her, there is someone who's going to kill you in the house. Let me in. So the first 10 minutes is absolutely scary because this guy looks like he has one eye, looks like a glass eye, or looks like some kind of pale eye on him. I don't know. He looks very creepy, but you're thinking, should she let him in or not? Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe there is someone there to kill her. Well, whether it's him or there was someone in the house, you're going to find out during the rest of this plot line for Oddity. Again, Dani is murdered. Now it's up to her twin sister, Darcy, who is also played by the same actress. The actress is Carolyn Bracken. She's fantastic in this movie. Her twin sister, Darcy, is a psychic, supposedly. She's blind. She runs an antique store, which has very supposedly supernatural elements. She can put her hands on certain objects and supposedly glean how are these objects connected to the life that we live in. Okay, so Dani, now dead, her twin sister Darcy comes to the mansion with her psychic abilities to figure out how her dead sister, who really killed her dead sister. That is the mystery behind Oddity. We also have to mention Gwilym Lee. He plays the Dani's widow. He is a doctor and the sort of the head of this nearby institution where he is quite the powerful figure. Here's the thing. The doctor believes in science and logic, while his late wife, Dani, sort of believed in the supernatural as well. So we'll see what happens. Is this an interesting mystery for 98 minutes? It's written and directed by Damien McCarthy, the same filmmaker behind this movie from 4 years ago, which I still haven't seen. I think Eric Holmes might have seen it. We mention the movie Caveat all the time because this is our running joke. We like to mention the word caveat in as many cinematics episodes as possible. Eric, do you remember actually watching Caveat? I think it was maybe only Bruce Perky was the one who watched Caveat. Do you remember
No,
anything about this?
no, I saw it when it came out.
Okay, do you have
I,
any recollection? So then I didn't.
I,
I was the culprit. Do you
I just remember it was weird as hell, and this one's no different. It's kind of uh, like when you say what the movie's about, I'm like, yeah, all that tracks. But like as I'm watching it, I'm just getting lost. Like I have no idea what's going on, and then
Mm.
but I'm like,
Is it a bad
I
thing? Because
no, it's a weird thing because I'm still invested. I'm like on the edge of my seat going,
well, I mean,
all right, wait, what's that? Why is that statue back there? Wait, why is that like why is that floor thing so important? Like I started picking up
okay.
on things, but none of it ever really connected.
I forgot to mention, thank you, Eric Holmes. Remember that psychic Darcy, she comes to the house and she's still trying to figure out who murdered her sister. Okay. She brings to the house Eric mentioned statue. I think Bruce mentioned it's a golem. For me, it's just a wooden figure that looks like it could, it's
Yeah.
straight out of the Wicker Man, possibly. It's just
Colin would make sense, I guess.
okay, yeah, well, it's this weird looking figure that has holes on the top of its head, and that figure may play an important role in Oddity. We don't know.
I
So you
still don't
figure
know. I still don't
you
know.
still I will tell you after we record my interpretation of Oddity. I will tell you this before we get to your review, Eric. I have not seen Longlegs yet. It is Longlegs, right? I've not seen that movie yet. You can tell me in your recommend whether this movie works for you. But Oddity, so far in the year of 2024, it is the scariest film I have seen thus far. Maybe, Eric, you can correct me and throw out some other movies that are scary, but this scared the living bleep out of me. Here's the thing. The detractors for Oddity will be people who do not like slow burn thrillers. There's a lot of slow burn atmosphere to it, and it's not gory. And I mean, it is violent, but it's not, if you're looking for a gory, violent slasher horror thing, this is not what Oddity is about. It's about building a world. Like Eric was saying, it's weird and creepy and weird as hell. And if you want to get scared, there are some really great moments in Oddity. I really dug this movie. Eric, your review of Oddity.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Most of what was carrying me through was the tone of it and the atmosphere. I was trying to follow like what the story and
Is this
yeah,
a scary movie, Eric? It's a scary, people will be scared. Am I wrong on this? With the pacing? Don't you think?
I don't really get scared at movies, so
Oh,
not
okay.
really, but like
Okay.
that constant threat of dread is always there and
Yeah.
that kind of tone. So in that respect, yeah. But mostly I was just kind of like trying to piece it because like so you had the main story of them trying to figure out who killed
The woman, yeah,
her
Dani.
sister.
Yeah,
But then like I'm trying to figure out unless I missed something, like why aren't the cops involved in this?
that's
Like
true.
why it's just weird stuff like that.
Okay.
Like stuff that it's in the story but doesn't really make sense in real life. And I guess I can kind of get by that. But
I will say
I,
this about Oddity, okay? And I don't know if you agree on this. I think this director, Damien McCarthy, I definitely have to see Caveat after watching Oddity because I'm assuming Caveat had a lesser budget than Oddity. And to think that Oddity essentially is set on in two locations. A lot of it is in the interiors of the home, maybe a couple of shots of the exterior of the mansion, and then rooms within this mental institution. Like I did not, it still is just a visually immersive movie for me because of the pacing, because of the cinematographer. I never felt like I was watching a cheap movie that needed more locations.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, Eric. I'm
Oh
taking
yeah,
you.
that yeah. But basically this movie just went right over my head or it missed a bunch of stuff and didn't connect with me. But I still loved watching it. Like
Okay, I love it.
I would watch this again just because like it just I don't know, it just drew me in. Even though like everything I was watching, I'm like, I don't get what's going on, but what's gonna happen next? Cool,
But,
this thing happened. What does that mean? I have no idea what
Eric,
happens next.
without giving too much away, do you think the ending will satisfy people or not? Or do you think I know I'm putting you on the spot here
The
because I
the ending confused me even more.
the ending confused you even more.
I got to the ending and I'm like, cool, we're gonna get answers. And then the ending
Okay.
happened. I'm like, well, what the hell is that now?
Okay, sorry, cinematic. Okay, cinematics listeners, if you're listening to our review of Oddity, I have made the executive decision. By the way, Bruce and Eric are actually my bosses. I'm the short little obese Asian who thinks he's the executive, but I am making this executive decision. We're ending our cinematics podcast early. I am going to spend the next 20 minutes talking to Eric about the intricacies of Oddity because I don't know, I think it'd be cool. But yeah, I love this movie so much. My rating for Oddity, I think I understood everything about it. And Bruce, Perky, if you're listening to this podcast of this episode with me and Eric on cinematics while you're in your bleeping attic with your segments, I do not like your rating. I personally do not like your rating on Oddity because again, this was the scariest film I've seen. And by the way, Bruce Perky and everyone who does not like Oddity, by the way, Bruce did. I'm not going to tell you listeners what he gave Oddity. Well, should we? Because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Let's just say it's not going to be as high as my rating. My rating for Oddity, again, scariest film of the year. I've not seen Long Legs this year yet, but so far, very, very creepy and scary. And I loved everything about this movie. I can't believe I'm going to say this. 5 stars. 5 stars for Oddity. I love Oddity. I'm going to rewatch this. I hope to purchase it if it's on physical media. If you like slow burn, scary, or Eric was saying that some people don't get scared. If you like that feeling of dread for 98 minutes, Oddity is the way to go. 5 stars for me. Eric Holmes, your rating.
I'm still at a 4. It's
Yes.
weird because like everything I said sounds like a
Thank
movie
you.
that I would hate, but
Thank you, Eric, the voice of reason. 4 stars. Thank you,
with as
Bruce.
much as I was confused and trying to piece things together, and also the movie felt like it was trying to say something more that I just wasn't picking up on. Like this is probably a movie I go back and watch again just to like pick up the pieces. And even the ending where the ending happened, I'm like, okay, like this is all new stuff. Like I
Okay.
like everything's just like on paper. This sounds like a movie I would hate, but I did not hate it. I enjoyed watching the entire thing.
Why do you is it because of okay, so this type of movie you would
I
hate
think I'm
the
just
way it was
intrigued by
executed?
it.
Okay, intrigued.
It's like I don't get it, but I want to know more.
Okay.
And then like after I was done watching it, I was like, I need to watch that again. Like I feel like I'm missing something. I need to delve back in and like see if I can put the pieces together.
Yes. And by the way, if you ever like looking at your pictures on your iPhone or your camera an extra little, a little bit more, don't do that because it can get really scary and you might find things in your respective camera or iPhone or whatever device. So I'm saying that's certain portions of Oddity. There's a camera in Oddity where if you look at some of the photos, it might scare you. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of elements that even if you are confused or lost, like Eric says he is, I don't think he thinks he's I think he's underrating what I think he understands the movie a lot more than he does. But
Okay, here's a question.
yeah.
Why was there a tent there?
Oh, right,
Like
right.
it's just
Okay.
weird things like that. That's like, what that doesn't even make like
Well, let's just say that's a great question, Eric, and we will address that after we're done recording.
all
Let's just
right.
say the tent really fulfills its function within the realm of Oddity. Now, check out what Bruce thinks about that towards the end of the segment. By the way, the Rotten Tomato score, as me and Eric are recording this segment, I mean this episode 251, 100% so far, Eric Holmes. So Oddity, 98 minutes in theaters on Friday. Cinematics, folks, listeners, please find it if you're like want something scary, especially if once it goes to Shutter or streaming or I don't know, it'll be. This is one of my top recommends for this year. 5 stars for me, 4 stars for Eric. Thank you, Eric, for that 4-star rating. And then Bruce, oh Bruce, you disappoint me.